Hi and welcome back. In our last video, we wrapped up a week-long stay at the Ocean Grove RV Resort in St. Augustine. We wanted to spend half the day at the resort before heading home, but a morning thunderstorm encouraged us to move out a little earlier than planned. Since we have over 24 hours of driving ahead of us, our plan is to take 3 days to get home. Since we will be driving north into sub-freezing temps, at some point we will need to stop and drain the water systems and winterize the RV. And we need to do this while it's still warm out. So our first stop will be in Georgia at the Atlanta South RV Resort. After that, we'll spend a night in Effingham, Illinois, and if all goes well, arrive home Sunday afternoon. But then again, things don't always go according to plan. Just lost signal to the backup camera, and that's powered off the 7-pin connection. So I checked our marker lights and they're off too, so I'm guessing we don't have brake lights or anything right now. So we're gonna pull off to the side and check. I'm thinking maybe just the 7-pin came loose, or maybe water got in there. It was raining hard when we hooked up, so we'll go check it out. All right. Nothing. Let's try blowing it out. All right, we're good to go. First pit stop on our way home, just crossed over into Georgia, getting some lunch at Steak and Shake. Never had Steak and Shake. Gonna be trying that for the first time. All right, so we just hit our second CAT scale. We did that one in Iowa, but just about had a heart attack when we looked at the numbers and it showed that we were 1,000 pounds over for what this truck can do. But it took us a couple seconds to realize that those scales were not weighing accurately. There was a thick layer of ice and snow on there, and I think that's what was causing the problem. 1,000 pounds, there's 1,000 pounds of ice and snow on that scale. I don't know why they don't zero it out in between weigh-ins, but second weigh-in, and we're okay. We're within the max numbers for this truck, but barely. You know, we had this truck before we bought our camper, and this truck can tow this camper okay, but it's probably not the ideal truck to do what it's doing. Our lease is up in a couple months, and we're going to be looking at something with a little better capacity, maybe even an F-250. But these numbers are okay. We are underweight on the front axle. We're actually 30 pounds overweight on the rear axle. The trailer axle is at 6,200. This truck can tow 7,600. So I think I'm going to move some stuff from the back of the truck into the camper to help level things off a bit. And yeah, maybe when we get back, start shopping for a new truck. That being said, we travel very safely. You know, I rarely go over 65 miles per hour. We have a brake controller that works good. I've never felt like we are out of control in any way. But that being said, we don't have much of a buffer with the numbers with the way this truck is set up. But yeah, in the future, hopefully we'll get a new truck and we'll share that with you too.
The Chinese flew, telling them we froze out of fear.
Slight right onto Mount Olive Road. Head south on Mount Olive.
Park here. Nothing terribly special with our Good Sam discount. It's $44 full hookups. It's not bad. There's a lot of elevation in this park and our site was not very level. So tonight, it's supposed to get down to 25 tonight, and I do have to winterize this in the morning. So I think what I'm going to do is actually just fill up the onboard tank and then disconnect the water so we don't have any issues with the spigot freezing. Otherwise, yeah, I think we're just going to get set up, take the dog for a walk, and maybe do a pizza and a movie and call it a night. Here's another look at the site. We had to get out the Anderson levelers, and back end is barely able to get the scissor jacks and our steps down, but we made it work. All right, we're just getting settled in. We got our pizza going. One thing I want to do is, if you've been following my channel, you know that I rent this camper out and I get a lot of questions on how to put this table down. So I think I'm going to do a quick video on how to put down a table in a Grand Design. Walk before we winterize our rig and head out. It's about 7:45 in the morning. It's about 29 degrees. It'd be nice if we could wait till it got above freezing before I did all my water stuff, but yeah, we're kind of learning that obviously websites are always going to show the places as nicer than they are. Maybe they show it 2 or 3 times nicer than they are. This place isn't horrible. And it's obviously popular. When I called to check in a week in advance, there were only 4 spots left, and there's a lot of big rigs in those outer loops, a lot of fifth wheels, Class A's. Looks like there's a lot of full-timers that stay here. When I was checking in, the guy said that there's just not a lot of RV parks around, so thus the full capacity. But anyways, we'll get all winterized, packed up, and head out. I'm going to use the air compressor to blow out the lines, but one thing you want to do is set the tool pressure on your regulator to about, I think it's around 45 or less psi, because you don't have too much pressure in your water lines. After you drain your tanks, you're going to want to drain all the extra water out, starting with the onboard potable system. I don't have much in here, so I'm just going to let it drain right on the campsite. There should only be a gallon or 2. Then you're going to want to find the low point drains, which are located at the back of the RV, and open those up too so they can drain out. And you also need to drain the water heater out back here. Yeah, release the pressure valve, and then you just take out this plug right here. And the water bypass valves are located behind this panel in the outdoor kitchen. Now I'm going to connect the air compressor to the water source and start building up pressure to blow out the lines. So you still need this. Then after I've done all the appliances, then I'll come back and do the low point drains again. Okay, now we can start putting antifreeze into the system, and to do that, you go behind this drawer underneath the stove. There's directions right there. You just flip a bypass valve, then you put the suction hose into your antifreeze bottles, turn on the water pump, and that will put the fluid through the system. One little hack for you 2400 and 2800 BH owners. So it has these little latches, levers that you flip up to extend the slide out. Directions say to take the drawer all the way out. If you can do it leaving the drawer on, that'd be better, because it is really hard to get the drawer back onto those guide rails. Okay, with the suction tube all the way into your antifreeze bottle, go ahead, wife, and turn the water pump on. It'll start sucking the antifreeze up into the system. And then you just turn on the faucet until you start seeing the pink stuff come through. And you do cold and hot until you have a steady stream. Then you do the same thing for the bathroom faucet, toilet, and shower. And then I'll pour a little antifreeze in all the sinks and toilet just to get into the P-traps and the holding tank as well. Another thing I've been trying this trip is using this Gas Buddy fuel card. I signed up for this right before we left. They advertise this as being able to save up to 20 cents per gallon. Basically how it works is you use this app on your phone and you hit find fuel, and then it'll bring up all the gas stations nearby and it'll tell you what savings the card will give you. As you can see, it's 5 cents, 4 cents. And then if you find a deal you like, you click on it, activate the discount, and then you actually use this card as kind of like a credit card, but it's hooked up to your bank account and will take the funds out of your checking account. I kind of did the math, and you need at least 5 cents off per gallon to equal the reward points I'd get on my credit card. You know, this whole trip I've only used this card once. Back before we left, I found one discount of 11 cents per gallon, but usually it's like 4 cents, 5 cents off, and that's really not worth it. So I don't know, this Gas Buddy card I think was actually kind of a fail. So far this trip I have saved $1.50 using this. I don't think really worth the hassle of signing up. All right, pit stop here, gonna get some lunch and then back on the road. So for our last night of our trip, we stopped in Effingham, Illinois. And for a treat, we used credit card points to get a suite at the Country Inn and Suites. We booked through Chase online, which said this was a pet-friendly hotel. But then we go to check in and we find out pets are not allowed. So Audrey and I are going to spend the night in the camper, which is fine by me. And the kids and the wife can enjoy the suite inside. All right, dog, let's do our business. Going over the driving numbers for day 2, 11 hours, 23 minutes of truck runtime. We drove 569 miles and averaged 9 miles per gallon. So this morning about 6:30, I noticed we lost heat. The furnace wasn't working anymore. And when I turned on the bedroom light, it was really dim. So I checked the battery status, which is really low, so I'm guessing that's why the furnace wasn't kicking in. Don't really understand why it would use that much battery power just in one night. We didn't have anything, weren't using anything else. But the problem is I have the slide partially open so I can get into the bedroom. I'm hoping there's enough power to stick the slide in. And it's going, and it went about 2 inches and stopped. I got the truck running to give a little juice to the battery, hopefully just enough to get that thing shut. But it's not wanting to do anything right now. Alright, I've had the truck running, I don't know, 15 minutes, and it's just not putting enough juice into the battery to make the slide work. I mean, I can let it run for 5 minutes and then it'll go maybe 1/4 of an inch. And I thought these had a manual override to crank the slide in, but apparently the Schwintek systems do not. So I got to come up with a different solution. All right, the hotel was kind enough to loan me an extension cord, and they have an exterior outlet here. So I got my adapter hooked up, but I'm not getting the blue light on my power cord, which means that that outlet might not be working. It's go find out. Nope, and that outlet doesn't work. So now we got to come up with another plan. And as luck would have it, there's actually an interior outlet right there, so we'll just try that one. Okay, that outlet is working. Let's try this one more time. All right, trying this one more time. And we got power, we are good to go. Make sure that went in all the way. Okay, we got that problem solved. And this is why 8-hour travel days sometimes become 10-hour travel days. Okay, I think we're about ready to hit the road. Our third travel day was pretty smooth until we got into the middle of Wisconsin. The forecast said that this area was going to get a little snow. At first they said less than an inch, so we weren't too worried about it. But as we got closer to Eau Claire, the snow started to get heavy. Soon the snow was building up on the road and we started to see cars in the ditch. At this point we decided it'd be safest to find a nearby hotel and just call it a day.
Okay. And about when do you think you'll be here?
About 2 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Okay, thanks.
It was really hard to stop when we were only 122 miles from home, but in the end it was probably the right call to make. The next morning we took off pretty early as we were all eager to get home after 4 straight travel days. Within an hour or so we were crossing the St. Croix River and we're back in our home state of Minnesota. We were only a few miles from home when this happened. We were on the busy interstate of I-694 when we came across some debris in our lane. It was the same color as the road, and by the time I saw it, I couldn't safely change lanes as there were cars off to both sides of us. Since I couldn't change lanes, I tried to move over in my own lane as much as possible, but we just couldn't avoid hitting it. It looks like it was a piece of sheet metal, and it caused some problems.
Oh, it's not their tire.
All right, well there's that piece of metal that we could not avoid on the freeway. Saw smoke coming out of the rearview mirror. We obviously punctured a tire. 3,700 miles. We are literally 1.5 miles from home, and we blow a tire. It doesn't look like we got any damage around the wheel well. That's good. But yeah, that metal must have come up and just totally sliced the sidewall. That's interesting. And right before our trip, I did get a membership to Good Sam Roadside Assistance. I probably could do this myself, but it's cold and we're right on kind of a busy highway here, so I think I'm gonna give them a call. All right, I'm having my wife call Roadside Assistance. I'm gonna get this process started. I don't know how long they're gonna be. Anyways, I got the lug nuts loosened here. I'm gonna try to pull it up forward on our Anderson levelers to get a little bit of height, and hopefully that'll be enough height to get that wheel off. So here is the spare, and yeah, I'm not even close to being able to get this on. There's not enough height in the leveler here. So I'm gonna need to get a jack or something to get this higher. So I might have to wait till Roadside Assistance comes out to finish the job. I actually have a bottle jack, but I took it out because we were so maxed out with weight coming down. Figured I'd just rely on Roadside Assistance if we need it, which turns out we do.
Callback number?
Yeah, it's 9.
You have that at 6.
I keep saying I'm going to wait for roadside assistance, but they took forever just to get the call out. So I'm going to try to use the truck jack and see how far I can get myself before they get here. All right, let's see if that'll work. All right, hate to do this to you, but you can call and cancel them. I fixed it. I got impatient. It's done. All right, I just want to pull forward a little bit, make sure we didn't leave anything behind, make sure everything is still attached and looking okay, even though we only got a mile and a half to get home. Okay, everything looks good. This could have been a lot worse. This was an inconvenience, yes, but you know, it's like 25 degrees out. It could be negative 24 degrees like it was a week ago. This could have happened at night. This could have happened at a spot where we didn't have a safe shoulder to pull off. You know, I could have gone and not noticed the smoke, and that tire was not too far from totally falling apart. That could have ripped up into our wheel well, done a lot of damage. Yeah, so all things considered, this could have been worse. Okay, well, we're back home. Let's check out the final numbers. We have 93 hours of engine runtime. Got a total miles of 3,713, and we averaged 9.6 miles per gallon. Towing was probably more like 8.6 to 9, but overall 9.6. So yeah, that was a good trip. There were some ups, there were some downs, there were some things that didn't always go right. There was some good weather, there was some bad weather, but yeah, overall I think we made a lot of memories, and yeah, can't wait for the next trip.